All right. I'm just waiting for some more people to join in here as we start. And give it one more minute. Anybody that's joining a little late before I kick things off here. All right. So I'm going to get started. Today's topic is, changing by the second. And I tried really hard to go pretty in depth on this, so you guys are all going to walk away as, experts in this to a certain extent, at least experts in the way that you guys will be able to make decisions on, what's right for you in this moment in time and how generic, more generative AI works and agentic AI. And then if I have time towards the end, I will show you guys an actual AI agent build out that I have been working on in congruence with a surety to analyze certificates of insurance. And you guys will be able to see the true difference between, something like ChatGPT, especially with ChatGPT's new release out, GPT-5. They are trying really hard to inch closer and closer towards more agentic AI and away from generative AI as things evolve. So, with that being said, I did try really hard to make this super informative. So I did include a lot of text on these pages, but I also wanted to keep this top level enough where, everybody can walk away from this and say, hey, for our construction company or our operations, I think that we should be looking into this or at least be aware that this is coming. So when we are looking to either onboard new solutions around different areas of our business, we can understand that, hey, the way that AI is, continuing to evolve, we should be aware of this. So with that being said, I will be diving in now. AI agents versus generative AI. We're going to understand the differences today, and you guys should all walk away being a little bit closer to an expert in this. So the first thing is artificial intelligence and AI, it's rapidly changing different industries. You're seeing more and more startups kind of pop up. There's generative AI and AI agents. They both are going to play different roles and capabilities. We're really going to dive into again the functionalities, the applications in the construction industry specifically, and the technical differences that set them apart. I'm also going to be talking about how we are building out different agents for different people right now, just as kind of like minimal viable products, or in other words, we're experimenting. AI agents are definitely in an early adopter stage, so kudos to everybody on this webinar today for being willing to lean into what's coming instead of, just trying to keep up. Now, generative AI, I want to just quickly talk about this. You guys, if you're on this webinar, you likely are very familiar with generative AI already. But generative AI is exactly what it sounds like. It's generating things. So it's generating text, it's generating images, it's generating videos, it's generating spreadsheets. And it's really that ChatGPT style that you guys are probably very used to now. So generative AI, is encompassing systems that produce new content, such as text, images, and audio based on user prompts. These models are like ChatGPT, leveraging extensive data sets to learn language patterns and generate outputs in real time. Unlike other AI forms, generative AI operates reactively, prompting or producing content only when prompted by the user. So, generative AI needs you to go chat something and ask something from it. And it's going to do, the way that these AI brains think is they are trained on so many examples of so many different pieces of text that it's just going to do what's called like a most likely. response. So every response you're getting from ChatGPT, it's doing a little bit more of like thought reasoning now with GPT-5, but previously, GPT-4, 4.0, it's basically doing a very quick analysis of what you asked it and what are the closest examples that it can grab that are similar to that to give you the best output. So it's not necessarily thinking on its own. Now, the key characteristics here, again, a content creation, pattern learning. Like I just said, that's how generative AI is giving you, like all the magic behind ChatGPT is really about patterns. And that's how it's generating these responses. It has what's called like a vector database. A vector database is like this crazy three-dimensional, four-dimensional kind of data set, and whenever you ask it a question, it finds the most likely match. And then it's able to just kind of like grab in a like, very, very, very complex kind of coordinate system out of the database, just for you guys to be able to visualize it a little bit more. Generative AI can adapt its responses based on user feedback. This allows for personalized outputs, enhancing the user experience in applications like chatbots or design tools. And then in terms of real world examples, I don't want to spend too much time on this because you guys are all used to ChatGPT already. So I just wanted to put in here, for the people that might not be so familiar with ChatGPT, so they really understand what generative AI is. We're creating images, we're creating code, we're creating text, we're creating, email responses, we're creating LinkedIn posts maybe. So all of that stuff, is I put this in, I get something out based on what I put in. Now, in terms of how people are currently using this in construction, we're seeing a lot of generative AI in documentation, writing emails, like I said, design assistance, job site, and in terms of like analyzing data, and then building code verification. So you can upload documents, give it a resource, and then have it check against that document that you give it as a resource. Now, let's get to the fun stuff, what we're all here for today. So, an AI agent, or otherwise known as agentic AI, which I don't think is fully a word yet, but it will be soon. AI agents are sophisticated systems engineered to operate independently, making informed decisions and taking actions that align with specific objectives. These agents stand apart from generative AI, which relies on user prompts to create content. Instead, AI agents are proactive, continuously assessing their surroundings and executing complex sequences of tasks to achieve their goals without constant human oversight. So, one thing that we're really passionate at my company of Contracts Connected is, you know, what are areas of construction where this can happen? Because I think it's a little far out there to say that a project manager can be an AI agent. However, certain things around, contract administration, that stuff, can be programmed in. It's typically very structured. You have the same documents you're asking from your vendors over and over again. You have, the same kind of process to fill those out, the same process to collect them, the same process to file them away. So being able to, then email this like AI contract administrator and say, "Hey, could you send me that attachment?" Or like, can you remind me what the spec sections were that we referenced in that subcontract? It can also be able to do that stuff, and that's very programmable. However, like real world interaction, walking a job site, stuff like that, I think we're not going to see for quite some time. So just for you guys to have in your mind of like what is agentic AI able to really do right now? And like I said, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to try to make enough time to show you guys a couple of things that are being built that we're building in an experimental way. But in terms of the key characteristics of AI agents in comparison, they have autonomy and they can make their own decisions. Now, this isn't to say that, you have to like let go and like let this AI agent do whatever it wants and make its own decisions. There are plenty of ways to build out AI agents that have what's called human in the loop. And human in the loop allows the AI agent to get all the way to, it makes the decision, it drafts up the email, or it drafts up the document and it gets all the way to the point where it's about to execute, it's about to send that email or it's about to generate that document. And it waits for, a human to just approve it and hit, yeah, go ahead, go off and send that and create that. Or a human to, come in and say, no, like we got to change this. That's not right. And then the other key characteristic here is it's going to learn from itself. But these AI agents should all have goals to them, and be proactive in terms of their behavior. So, you're not going to go click a button that says, go do this job, AI agent. You can, but the real power here comes from building a system where, if an email comes into the email inbox for that contract administrator AI agent like we are building, it's able to read that email from that PM and say, okay, this PM's asking me to create a subcontract package, for a drywall guy on this project. I need to go look up all the information, generate this subcontract package, and send it back to them for them to be able to approve. But it's not necessarily waiting for the PM to go hit a button that says, generate the document or generate whatever. That, again, that's generative AI. And the world's moving pretty fast past that generative AI. So most AI agents follow, a reason act loop, which involves sensing their environment, reasoning about potential actions, executing those actions, learning from the results. And this is an iterative process. And one thing with AI agents is they're going to be able to do a lot of things. And you have to give access to those things to this AI agent. So it's like an integration, a connection. So if you're thinking about, how allowing access when you sign into something using an Outlook account or a Gmail account, you have to say, yes, allow access. These agents are also going to need access to take action within different applications. So they're going to need access to a Gmail account or an Outlook account. They're going to need access to a Google Drive account. They're going to need access to different things so they can go do this stuff for you. And these are called tools. And inside of an AI agent, they're going to have access to these tools. And when they are prompted with something or they're programmed to, know to take an action when an email comes in, is going to be able to think and reason and say, okay, well, I need to generate a subcontract package. I'm going to go use Google Drive, grab the template, make a copy of the template, but I'm not going to go use, our Zoom phone system, or I'm not going to go reference a calendar that maybe I have of the team. So it's going to be able to reason of like, okay, to accomplish what I need to do, the person's asking me this, what's the outcome that they likely want? Okay, so now I need to access Google Drive, Google Docs, and then generate a PDF and then send an email, and I'll access the tools in that manner. I don't need the tool calendar. I don't need the tool, the phone system. I don't need to text anybody. So it's going to reason and be able to act off those reasons. And that goes back into the uses of tools. So that's the key thing here is generative AI, again, is it's giving you back stuff, but it's not reasoning of like, what tools do I need? It's the same way that we think. We are really rebuilding our own brains when it comes to this AI agent stuff. And AI in general, like we're just trying to copy ourselves and how we think, and give ourselves superpowers. So when it comes to it, you got to think, hey, if I'm programming an AI agent, if I was sitting here and I got this email, I have access to all this stuff. I can go on the internet, I can go to my email, I can go to my calendar. What do I actually need to do to accomplish this task? It's going to think the exact same way. So some examples include, virtual personal assistants. I've seen people already building agents out where, you can text a number and it's managing your calendar, moving things around, it's sending emails to people, trying to find times. It's pretty cool. I built one myself. And it can also do autonomous vehicles already. A lot of the like the Waymos, I'm not sure if anybody's seen those around. They're really popular in like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Phoenix, and Austin, Texas. Those are all navigating off of more of an agentic flow. They have access to certain tools within the car to accomplish a certain task. And yeah, so we're going to get into a little bit more specifics on this. But in terms of construction, you know, the different kind of like early stage agentic flows that I've seen here. And I'm going to be talking about, documentation a lot, but there's a few different options here. So I've seen a company, that's doing autonomous drones equipped with AI that can perform daily site surveys, capturing images, and videos to track progress without human intervention. And the key thing here is, there's a program of an AI agent that is able to know, okay, to accomplish this task, I need to go fly over here. It analyzes the building and it knows, hey, we're looking for an update from, this particular vendor to see if we're okay to pay this invoice. And it can go survey that very specific piece of the project. Being able to think through what it needs to do and then take action, that's agentic. Um, oops. Real-time project optimization. AI agents can analyze project metrics in real time, allowing for, you guys to have quicker adjustments to schedules and resource allocations. Safety monitoring. AI agents enhance safety by monitoring site conditions, identifying hazards, triggering alerts when safety protocols are violated. So again, this is again autonomous. It's doing it without somebody prompting it. It's watching, it's able to know what its purpose is, and it's able to execute on that for you. Streamlined procurement, AI agents that can predict material needs and automate ordering processes, minimizing delays and ensuring timely deliveries. This is all, very, very early stage companies that I've found that are trying to address these problems. These are very complex problems, and there's likely going to be like a minimal viable product. We are personally working on the back office side. So, it's arguably a lot easier in my opinion to do than on-site stuff. A lot of this documentation stuff, we're asking somebody about the information in a document. We're asking somebody to go chase down a document. Those types of things can all be kind of automated already, without a whole lot of complexities there. More so just interaction between project managers, estimators, or executive team members. So, moving on here, we're just going to just recap really quickly this difference and get into some more kind of like fun stuff with this. So, generative AI, we're creating things. Agentic AI, we're executing things. We're checking things off a to-do list. We're saving time. And a lot of this is going to come down to really kind of like repetitive tasks in the beginning, but you guys will see this continue to change very quickly. Pretty much all of the companies getting funded these days are very specific around AI agents. Now, in terms of technical differences, I'm gonna blast through this. I don't want to get too technical with you guys, but I do want you guys to be able to talk about this at a top level or a very top level inside your guys' companies. So, generative AI, ChatGPT, agentic AI, AI assistants or robots. Build on large like LLMs, which is large neural networks or large language models. And then agentic AI is more of like a software and architecture. It's not just something that's going to spit back an answer based on the most, you know, similar things in its database. It's trained on a lot of data sets. Now, the thing that's important here for agentic AI is not to say that it doesn't use an LLM like ChatGPT or something. It needs that to operate, but it also has a memory that can then make decisions, loop through, and use different tools. That's the key here, is the tools and the loop through to accomplish something that it's self-monitoring. Generative AI is more of a pattern and self-supervised, so a lot of personal interaction. Agentic AI is, it can act, reason, and interact with external systems independent of you. Predicts likely outputs on generative, and on agentic, it often uses reinforcement learning. So again, it's going to get smarter and smarter and add to its memory every time it does a task. Generative creates images, text, all that kind of stuff. Agentic maintains state and works towards goals. More of like, hey, how do I think? What do I want to accomplish today? It's going to think the same way. Generative AI, no memory to a certain extent, but it's no memory in terms of if we're comparing it directly against agentic AI. It doesn't have goals. It's not like a person. It doesn't have tools to access. It just responds to an input simply. And it's great for content generation, but it's limited by its training data. And we've seen this with ChatGPT 5. I don't know if you guys have seen the news, but OpenAI released ChatGPT 5 and everybody was super excited about it. But we've hit this plateau in generative AI. And that's what's pushing us towards agentic because, you know, AI became so smart because it's trained on everything on the internet. But these models are to the point now where they're plateauing in terms of how smart they can be because there's like they know the whole internet already. There's nothing more for them to train off. So you're seeing these new models that come out aren't like huge steps forward. ChatGPT 5 was actually supposed to replace all other models, but just yesterday, I believe, they rolled back to ChatGPT 4.0 because of, people just complaining about it. So that's just to like a little bit of an insight there on the state of generative AI in general. And you guys are going to see huge pushes towards agentic AI, and it's going to become like very, very popular. So memory learning, we talked about that difference. Tool integration, we talked about that difference. Agents have tools, generative AI does not have tools. And in terms of the future of AI, and the compatibilities between construction and using AI agents at the moment, we're seeing a few different things. So there's not to say that, generative AI is going to die or anything. I wanted to be very clear that, combining generative AI and agentic AI enables powerful task completing assistants, like an auto GPT or AI co-pilots. So for an example, you could say, plan my construction timeline, identify risks, and email the team. So you can see how, this first piece here is generative. The second piece here is agentic. So it's gonna understand the drafts, the email, and the schedule. Agentic updates the project software. It's able to go integrate with whatever software you guys are using and smartly be able to read the screen and make those decisions. And then it's able to actually write that email and send it out to the team. Moving on here, agents as AI coworkers in construction. So this is what we are building. This is what I'm passionate about. I am fully documenting the build out of these AI agents that we are building for at least the back office in the beginning and building a fully agentic, back office contract administrator kind of role in our free AI community called AI Blueprint, which I will be putting a link to towards the end of this chat or towards the end of this webinar in the chat. But I'm really passionate about these AI coworkers. AI agents will act as digital teammates, handling coordination, compliance checks, procurement, and more. So a different example would be, a site assistant. It reads the daily reports, summarizes anything, cross-checks the weather forecast, is able to email out these on a daily or weekly basis. It spots any risks, and it can reschedule crews and notify project managers if needed, all without the help of a person actually doing this stuff. So the result would be a real-time foresight and faster decisions like a superpowered PM's assistant, allowing the PM to just kind of direct these AI coworkers instead of having to do all of this work and juggle a million things all at once. The next one is industry trends and investment into agentic AI. So, like I said, you guys are going to see huge shifts towards this. We're seeing like a plateau when it comes to generic generative AI. And tech giants like OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft are betting big on AI agents right now. Even Meta, I forgot to put them in here, but Meta's investing an insane amount of money into the fact that they want every single person that uses Facebook or Instagram to have like a personal assistant. So they're going to build out consumer-facing AI agents that will help you with your daily tasks, booking travel, setting up appointments, buying things, shopping for you, all of those types of things. And Microsoft's Copilot is already integrating AI across Office tools to generate content. So it's kind of that first step towards agentic using tools. So, Microsoft Office is perfect example. A tool would be PowerPoint, a tool could be, Outlook, a tool could be Word, and each different kind of tech giant here is going to try to play to their strengths in terms of what tools it can build the best with. In construction tech, startups are building agent-powered platforms that adjust schedules, budgets, and documents in real time, responding to delays or risks autonomously. And analysts are predicting that these AI agents will soon be as common as today's software tools, delivering major efficiency gains by automating work once done by entire teams. So again, our example of what I'm building every single day. And it's not easy to build these AI agents because AI is good, it's great, but have building out like a brain to make decisions is not, as simple as just typing a little prompt. Eventually, I think it will be. It could be as soon as, the next month. Early adopters right now, I'm seeing people that are willing to like lean into this and at least try it or experiment with it. They are seeing some great early success, and I'm excited to show you guys that in a second. So merging generative AI and agentic AI, it's going to be a path like towards a more general human-like intelligence. We're great at generating thoughts, great at generating the text, but what about the specific tasks? And what researchers are kind of building out here are more like what are called cognitive architectures that use the LLM like ChatGPT to reason and do the thinking, and then they connect the tools afterwards. Um, the biggest idea in like the moonshot is, an AI agent that could manage a project end to end, set goals, adjust plans, communicate, solve problems, you know, be able to survey the site or walk the site and talk to somebody on the phone, all of that kind of stuff. We're not there yet, but I want you guys to kind of at least have an idea in your mind of where this is working towards. It's working towards that fully agentic, taking executions on certain things to accomplish a result. In terms of the new frontiers that I'm seeing early adopters and companies start to build in terms of, AI agents is autonomous equipment fleets, bulldozers, cranes, and trucks coordinating 24/7. You're already seeing the government invest heavily into autonomous drones, autonomous tanks, autonomous tools, the dogs that can run around that you've seen from that robotics company. AI assisted design is already kind of happening. I understand and I'm definitely aware that it's not 100% there yet, but generating cost-efficient plans with real-time structural stuff going on, and then smart maintenance, monitoring buildings post-construction, and auto-scheduling the repairs, building management. We have a couple property managers inside of our software that are leveraging our AI tools to work with their documentation. But I could definitely see robots that are able to kind of survey these companies' buildings and then schedule these things autonomously. Generative AI devises solution, AI agents execute them. I hope that's clear by now. And the differences there. So some of the challenges that I'm seeing already while we're building out our own AI agents here is accuracy in hallucinations. So if you guys aren't aware, this is still a big problem. Um, ChatGPT 5 hallucinates. And what I mean by hallucinating, it's like making up information that it didn't actually know. Um, it's hallucinating 25% less than GPT-4. And that's a huge difference because I know a lot of us are already so heavily leaning on ChatGPT that we forget that it's like making stuff up and it's not correct and stuff like that. And with AI agents, this is very important because it's taking action and it's doing things. And it's usually having access to tools. But let's say you're asking for the price that you had on a certain, subcontract. Um, you don't want it to make that up, and then you're like there on the site, and the PM's on the phone with the AI agent contract manager, and he's arguing with the sub there, and it's destroying that relationship. So this is huge, and we are building out some very strict, they call them guardrails, where the AI agent, and it's okay to say I don't know, and it's okay to say like, can you actually help me understand how I should go look that information up instead of just trying to spit out a response. There are ethical considerations here. AI agents will be um, having access to quite a lot of stuff across emails, to make these decisions and to take this action, even when it comes to drones, like this stuff is all automated and like giving it a set of morals or at least guardrails around what it should be looking at, what it shouldn't be looking at, what it should save, what it shouldn't save. All of this is to be considered. Um, the cost and the ROI, right now we are developing quite a lot of tools, and the research and development is massive in terms of the time suck that it takes to experiment with this stuff. And in terms of like one very specific case, just so you guys know, if you want to build out an AI agent of your own, I've analyzed a maybe 100 different certificates of insurance. And we're very, very close to it being almost like 95% accurate, but it's taking quite a lot. I'm gonna blast through a couple of these other things because I want to make sure I have time to show you guys the agent that we are building, and so you can see a real world example of it. Integrating them with legacy systems. If you guys have any dated software, you're going to have your agent access it like a human, clicking on a computer screen instead of integrating more of with like a back end connection, like you might be used to integrating softwares today. And then security and data privacy is very important. Now, one thing that I hear a lot in construction is about the security and the data privacy. The thing to remember here is there's something called zero data retention or ZDR in a lot of these large language models. You can set this up so ChatGPT, Claude, whoever you're using is not able to remember your stuff. And you can do this from an API standpoint, not necessarily in your like ChatGPT account. There is a switch there that you can go into your settings and say, use my data to train the model, or don't use my data to train the model. So if you guys haven't done that and you want to be aware of what's going on in your account, go ahead and do that. One thing that I'll mention is, in terms of security and data privacy, um, if you guys are not switching that switch on, it's not only using your interactions and your documents and whatever you're putting in there to train it and give it a better kind of like brain, but it's also going to store it. So, we've entered a ton of information about Contracts Connected as a software and all the AI tools that it does to generate contract packages and, go chase down documents from vendors automatically. And we did an experiment where we logged into somebody else's account that isn't affiliated with our company. And when we went and searched it, it basically was spitting out exactly what we put into it from a different account. So just be aware of that. And, zero data retention is a tool that you can leverage. And zero data retention is usually a switch in your settings that you might want to go check out. So continuing on here, the way that AI is going to transform construction is artificial intelligence is poised to revolutionize the construction industry, offering robust solutions through its two primary forms. We have generative and agentic. Agentic's going to become just as big, if not bigger, than the generative stuff that you guys are used to. So it's great that you're here and learning about it. Generative AI is adept to producing creative content, assisting in tasks like drafting documents, like we are building, and generating design concepts. In contrast, agentic excels at managing workflows and automating processes, enabling proactive decision making and efficient project management. The combination of these technologies promises enhanced operational efficiency, improving safety protocols, and superior project outcomes, positioning AI as a pivotal asset in the modern construction practices. So, coming on here, I want you guys to kind of like be able to ask any questions here. But before I do that, I'm going to show you guys the inside brain of this agent that I'm building. And while I do that, I'm also going to put in the chat here a quick little, let me get this screen up so you guys can see what the inside of an AI agent looks like, which is, I'm glad we have some time here. Do-do-do-do-do. All right, I'm gonna switch this screen share. And while I switch this screen share, in the chat here, you guys are going to see a link. I have a community where specifically for construction, I am building out a community where these webinars are going, these anything that I'm building in terms of AI agents, I'm giving away for free in these community. It's basically a hub where you guys can just talk about what's going on in construction in terms of AI. So we're creating a community there of other construction professionals that are leveraging AI in different ways. I do a free office hours every Thursday morning where I just sit there with the members and we talk about AI. We talk about what's going on in their company, how they're leveraging it in construction. There's 50 free spots for it. And I think almost 30 of the 50 free spots are already taken. And you guys get lifetime access. Every course that I'm going to create around this, I already have one course live. I'm working on an advanced prompting course for generative AI next. They're super easy to understand, and we make all this stuff really easy to use. Additionally, the topic of today's webinar was actually voted on by the members in that free community. So if you ever want to learn a little bit more about certain things of AI, you can go in there, say what you want me to kind of research and present or at least show under the hood of. Now, enough about that. That's in the chat if anybody wants to access it while it's still free. What I'm going to show you guys here is the brain of an AI agent. So this looks a little complicated at the start, but one thing to note is there's this gray area between generative AI and AI agents, and that's called an AI workflow. So, generative AI, I'm clicking, I'm typing, I'm getting a response. A AI workflow is, hey, step one, do this. Step two, do this. Step three, do this. So, if you see here, this is a very linear pattern that I have at the beginning of this workflow. And what it's basically doing is it's saying, okay, when I get a new document, I need you to go get the document, download the document, send it off to this, AI brain that's gonna, parse it out. Otherwise, it's gonna take the PDF and turn it into text. And then it's gonna wait, is it done yet? If it is done, move on. If it's not done, loop. So this is a very linear process. There's no thought going on here. There's no action going on here. It's like step one, step two, step three. So that's a workflow. Now, this is you're going to see it combine a workflow in with, I have three different agents here. And this is a very visual way for you guys to understand this right now. So what it's doing is it's getting a contract or it's getting a certificate of insurance, it's downloading it, it's taking that PDF, and AI agents need text. So it's turning it into that PDF into text that it can understand. If once that text is done, it will go one of two paths. If it's a subcontract, it will go this path. If it's a certificate of insurance, it goes this bottom path. So it's able to understand, hey, what type of document is this? If it's a subcontract, I need you to extract out what exact kind of certificate of insurance requirements are in this subcontract. If it's the certificate of insurance, I'm going to now need you to, you know, pull out the very specific details within that Accord 25 form, and then compare it against the subcontract. So I have two agents here doing two different jobs. One mistake that a lot of people make when building out their own AI agents, and by the way, this is on a program called N8N. You guys can see it up here. It's how I'm building out our prototypes for these kind of agents that we're experimenting with and actually leveraging in some real companies, real general contractor companies. But this is a place where you guys can go to experiment with this. There's some templates. I'm going to be giving away these templates once they're finished with all the prompts and everything that I've worked weeks and weeks and weeks on in that AI community, the link that's in the chat. But here you can see when I open this, I'm gonna see that I have OpenAI as the kind of like processor, the LLM, and then I have a memory here. I don't have any tools, so I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a tool link here where you can give it access to all kinds of different things. You can give it access to spreadsheets. You can give it access to other softwares that you guys use within your company. You can give it access to whatever you need. And if I come down the line here, I have this first agent pulling out their certificate of insurance information. So here is what's called a system prompt. And a system prompt is just another word for the AI agent's brain. Who are you? What's your purpose? What is your goal here? How are you going to think? How are you going to work through these tools? So for this AI agent is trained to extract insurance policy information from the Accord 25 certificate of insurance form. And all of this stuff is happening in the background. And then what the user is just saying is like a little loading screen, and then it pops out this like magical response about what the AI agent found inside of the certificate of insurance. But I'm showing you guys under the hood. So without the user seeing anything, it's basically dynamically placing this certificate of insurance information here, and then it's basically trying to like generate its own output. And what it does is the output is basically the policy amounts, the policy expiration dates, and all the endorsement information, if you guys are familiar with the Accord 25. And then it's going to grab what's in the subcontract, and then this agent puts it all together. So this is kind of where the magic happens. So this is an AI assistant that is trained to review the certificates of insurance. So it has all the information, and now it's going to review it. So step one, look at this. Step two, compare this. Step three, analyze the endorsements. And when you're thinking about what these agents are doing, it's just what we're doing in our heads when we're going through these processes. It's the same thing. And it's very powerful. And once you guys start to get in here and see this, and I'm going to be giving away these workflows so you can just plug your own stuff in and try it in your company and be the superhero that saved everybody hours and hours and hours of work. But once you start playing with this, your mind's just going to go wild. And my co-founder, Lars Herman on contractsconnected.com, he started another general contractor. And I told him, I'm like, man, we can automate and build agents around all this stuff. And I'm going to be building it in public. I'm going to be showing people on these Tuesday webinars. I'm going to be putting it in the community. But I told him, I was like, man, you can build, a $50 million construction company with basically nobody in the back office. You just need people on site. All this documentation, all this analysis, all of this, output and planning. I can get the AI agent to get like 99% there. And then the human in the loop theory that we talked about at the beginning of this call, he can then just go in there and say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, or rework this or redraft this. and it's going to get smarter every single time. So the sooner he starts with this, the smarter the agent's going to get, and the better his operations can get. So the people that are going to be starting with this and be early adopters of AI agent flows are going to be the ones that, kind of make the difference. Now, just because they're going to have the background and they're going to have more data in their AI agent, if that makes sense. So, I want to make sure that you guys can see this. Okay, great, you can. So this is what's happening on the front end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly, and I'll open it up for questions in just a second, but I'm going to drop a certificate of insurance in here. And this is, the software that I presented on last week. The webinar recording is in that community that you have the link in the chat for if you need it. But like I told you guys, the brain that I showed you is working in the background right now. And in executions, we're going to probably be able to see one in progress here. A lot of the tests here I can come in. So it's running, it's doing all of that analysis through that AI agent brain, and it's going to be able to spit out a analysis here. But the user, your team that you built this agent for isn't gonna know anything is happening. So it's analyzing. It should be done in just a second here. And if you guys do have any questions, if you want me to clarify anything, because I know I might have got a little nerdy for you guys today, feel free to start posting it in the chat if you'd like, and I'll get to it in just a second. I think we'll have about, 5 or so minutes for some questions and answers. But we'll see what this AI agent is able to find. It's kind of ripping apart this Accord 25, analyzing it all, and let's see if it works. Moment of truth. This one, I don't have it like supercharged yet or optimized yet. We're really focused on building out things that are giving very accurate, reliable, non-hallucination responses. So this should be taking its time, doing its diligence. If it can't find something, I don't want it to make it up. It's very important that, what we see here. And this is going to be an example of a human in the loop. So the AI agent is doing the task. If a subcontractor came in here to Contracts Connected and uploaded a certificate of insurance, the AI agent isn't waiting for somebody to tell it to analyze it. It's just automatically going to start analysis. So by the time the contract administrator or the PM comes into this software, they're able to kind of just see instantly what's already happened. So it autonomously went in here and started working. So here we have the output from the AI agent. So final recommendation, it's rejected. While a couple of things are compliant, there's some non-compliant stuff, and everything is expired. So down below, you can also see the endorsement analysis, and this is based off the subcontract that I've uploaded here. And you can see kind of the subcontracts analysis there. But this is just a very small example of one AI agent doing one document. And we're going to see this continue to expand more and more and more as we kind of continue to get to build, continue to get to see people that are putting real use cases in here. So, in terms of AI agents. I see Joshua's question here, so I'm going to answer you. But in terms of what are some AI agents, platforms, companies, etc., that I can start using today? That question varies depending on, what company you are. We are building out stuff around the back office, around documentation. Um, Depending on how brave you are with how technical you want to be, feel free to leverage that n8n.com and come to the office hours on Thursday. And if you want to start building your own agents, that's where a lot of power can come in. I can give you a ton of templates for you to start using for free if you'd like as well. But start building out your own. It's a really cool space to be in right now. There's not necessarily the security risks that you will see with like I mentioned last week, you can do like vibe coding, which is building your own software. But these software databases kind of have like some holes in them in terms of security. AI agents are going to plug in as far as NAN goes to your existing Google Drive, to your existing, tools. So it's not necessarily exposing any of your information or storing it anywhere that you wouldn't already store it. You can plug into the tools your team already uses. And that's one thing that I've talked a lot about to different people in AI, and something that I'm very like kind of trying to work through myself in terms of construction is, you know, the construction industry traditionally has been forced into softwares. And the software has a very specific process for a specific, thing that they're trying to accomplish or do in their company. Like Procore, for instance, it's like, okay, we got to learn Procore. We got to conform our company to how Procore works. And one thing that I'm like really watching closely with agentic AI is, um, are these agents going to be softwares that make it easier for people to just plug into and get started? Or are these AI agents going to be built in a way where you're like, no, no, no. We've been doing this way for 10, 15, 30 years. This agent needs to be an employee of us and follow our standard operating procedures. And we're going to see software go one way or the other. And it's going to be interesting in construction because, there's so many legacy processes and so many of these companies have so much history. It's like, are we going to see AI agents be built into a more streamlined, easier to use and get started with? Or are we going to see more custom solutions as these AI agents become easier and easier to build and create? Are we going to see them have to conform to the way that these companies are already operating? My personal philosophy at Contracts Connected is we are building a software, so it's still a tool, but it's very flexible. So, if the information for a subcontract flows first through an email from a PM to the contract administrator, we're going to keep that flow. We're gonna bend to the way that they work because bringing on software is no easy task for a construction company. And how do we make that as easy as possible for them? We bend to their making. Joshua, there is also one other company that's a little bit easier, a little bit more user friendly than N8N. It's called Maker or Make. I think it's called Make. And I can do a quick little search here to make sure I give you the right name. But it's a little more user friendly. Yeah, it's called Make. So make.com, make.com. It's a little more user friendly, uh, but with the like ease and use comes limitations in what it can do. So that's the thing. Same with, software. The easier we get that thing to be useful in a company, and the easier we make that software, and the more streamlined and rigid we make it, the more limitations there are, right? Whereas if you have a software company that's building AI agents for the back office and it can completely mold and form to your company in the way that you guys already operate and just be a coworker, then you have a lot more possibilities in what this thing can do. So that's one thing to kind of know between N8N and Make. Makes it a little easier to use, but there's some limitations. But if you want to get your feet wet, make.com is a very easy way to get started. You could even build like a personal calendar assistant if you wanted to, show off your first AI agent that can manage your calendar and you can text message with it and it can have your whole personal life in there and stuff like that. So that is a little bit about what you can start using today. I would say that there isn't, at least in the construction industry that I've seen, there's not been a huge, release in terms of these agents. We are building a ton of them right now, and we're beta testing them with some general contractors, and they're seeing some really cool kind of results, being able to collect daily reports, analyze the daily reports, then collect the certified payroll, analyze the certified payroll against the daily report and the Davis-Bacon wage decision, and then spit out these answers. That's another tool that we've built that some GCs are using as well. So anything that, has steps to it, methodical steps can be built now. If I come across any cool AI agentic tools for construction, I'll be sure to post them into that community, the link that is in the chat for this webinar. So, yeah, I think we have a few more minutes here. Joshua, thank you for your question. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to hang around for a few more minutes and answer them. But we will be talking more about AI next week. I think we might get into the actual analysis of some documents, but I will be letting the AI community make that decision on what I research, what I put together. But I hope you guys are walking away from this feeling like you're at least 1% closer to an expert. I hope you got some value out of this. I hope you can now go up to anybody and talk about the difference between generative AI and agentic AI. And also talk about like what it's going to be possible in the coming years and even the plateau we're seeing in generative AI and why we're pushing towards agentic and how we're building out basically replicas of our brain when it comes to this. We're just replicating ourselves. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I will stick around till the end of the hour. Otherwise, thank you again for coming. I hope to see you in the AI Blueprint community. There are free spots left. I think maybe they're all gone by the end of this. But thanks for coming. I'm looking forward to next week, and I will be putting out an announcement on what we will be presenting on next week on Thursday of this week. So watch out for that over email. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks. Hey Mark, definitely. I don't know if you're still here. Let me know if you are, but that's definitely possible. If you want to just shoot me an email, and I can get you something that you might need. Um, Give me 1 second, and I will put this in the chat here. Also, Mark, uh, yep. If you want to join that um, community link, I will, if you want them to have some base level understanding, there's still free spots in there they can join. I do have a course already available in that community. And then they are also able to come for completely for free to every Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, office hours, ask whatever questions they want. And I'm happy to help. But I did put my email there. It's zach.kerber@contractsconnected.com. You can also, if you do join the community, you can also message me within the community. So I hope that that helps you. Feel free to put it in there if it does or if it doesn't. But yeah, happy to help. All right, we're a little bit past the hour. Mark, I'll give you one more minute to copy that if you need it. You can also type the answer here. Okay, awesome, Mark. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys on the next one.